From shocking retirement from wrestling more than 10 years ago to what went down on her wedding day speaking up against Stephanie McMahon and rare times she stepped back in the ring.
I thought I was paralyzed. Physically, mentally, emotionally, I'm healed.
Here's a full timeline of AJ Lee's return to WWE. Welcome everyone to Ring the Bell, this is DS, and here's the ultimate timeline of AJ Lee, why she walked away, what really went down with CM Punk on her wedding day, and why the internet is feral this week about her coming back. I personally wanted to make this video because I was also curious about wait, what happened and when did everything happen? Because if you're new to wrestling, you might be like, I don't get why everyone's losing their minds over her. What is the reason? Well, here's the reason. So first, let's go back 10 years ago in 2015. WrestleMania 31 weekend, AJ teams up with Paige aka Saraya to beat the Belle twins, and she wrestles for the one last time next night on Raw in a 6-woman tag match. 4 days later, WWE posts this one-sentence pipe bomb. AJ Lee decided to retire from in-ring competition with WWE. And just like that, internet exploded. As for why, AJ has said publicly that lingering damage to her cervical spine and her own sense that she has already achieved what she wanted in pro wrestling were big factors for leaving. Regarding her injury, by the way, she told Renee Paquette in 2022 interview that she damaged her spine with doctors advising her against continuing in-ring competition. That's something that CM Punk has also said multiple times.
I hurt my neck really bad the last year, and and when it happened in the ring, I thought I was paralyzed. 3 of my discs are so compacted, it is shutting off a nerve.
But anyway, this is not a typical wrestler just stepping away from the ring because of an injury. There's a lot more story to AJ stepping away from wrestling. Oh, there is some drama. So to understand the situation around AJ's exit, you gotta rewind to CM Punk, her husband, and I know that Ring the Bell, we don't really talk about men's wrestler here, but I'm telling you, his situation is so important to understand the gravity of it all. So CM Punk walked out after Royal Rumble 2014, and then months later, he told the Art of Wrestling podcast with Colt Cabana, which is of its own the whole drama, which I don't want to get into here. I love my Chicago brother Colt Cabana, by the way. But Punk said on the podcast that WWE fired him on his wedding day. The day he married AJ in June of 2014. He got his termination papers by FedEx that morning. Who does that on a wedding day? So shady. But what was WWE's side of the story? So Vince McMahon went on the Stone Cold Steve Austin podcast on WWE Network that December and publicly apologized for the timing. He called it a coincidence and a mix-up with legal and talent relations. Punk did not accept this apology, saying if the apology was sincere, you wouldn't use it as a publicity stunt on Austin's podcast. So yeah, wedding day, your husband getting fired by FedEx. I mean, there's a lot more story to CM Punk's situation with WWE, but that was bad. But there's more. Early 2015, after husband Punk is already gone, AJ was still working there, but she was speaking up at this point. So she famously at Stephanie McMahon about pay and screen time inequality for the women. I still love how AJ called Stephanie out. So it was Stephanie tweeting out about, "Thank you, Petty Arquette, for having the courage to fight for women's rights." And AJ called her out saying, "At Stephanie McMahon, your female wrestlers have record-selling merchandise and have started in the highest rated segments of the show several times, and yet they receive a fraction of the wages and screen time of the majority of the main roster. Use your voice." Hashtag. Again, she was still working for WWE at this time. This is not something you would see ever. So after WWE, AJ goes full on creator mode, leaving the wrestling life behind. Her 2017 memoir, Crazy is My Superpower, debuts at number 10 on the New York Times bestselling list. I really do love this book. It was a really candid look at mental health, family trauma, and personal resilience. And what's really cool is that this book is getting adapted as a documentary for A&E TV documentary, initially announced in 2017 or so, but it's still believed to be in development. She also teamed up with actress Amy Garcia from Lucifer and Dexter to co-found Scrappy Heart Production, a production company elevating diverse voices, and they worked on comic book series called Glow vs. the Babyface, where she did a bit of a shady jab at Cameron. I don't know if you saw this, but AJ had a little something to say.
I want to know the tea. What did she say?
Little bit of a tribute, having that moment of count it, ref. Dungeons & Dragons at the Spine of the World comic miniseries, co-written screenplay for Netflix Blade of the 47 Ronin in 2022, contributed to DC's Wonder Woman, Black and Gold, and a lot more. And she's also a huge mental health advocate, working constantly with NAMI, National Alliance of Mental Illness. I've also interviewed AJ through NAMI when I was working for Chicago Tribune. But you know something about pro wrestling is that you can never fully leave it. The wrestling bug eventually bites her back again. In 2021, she re-enters the wrestling business, but this time behind the scenes stint with WOW Women of Wrestling as an executive producer and color commentator, even doing some media appearances, getting fans all excited, like would she be back in the ring with WOW? Then in 2023, AJ wraps up her time with WOW without, in-ring action after one season, but she does ultimately return to the ring, well, kind of. In 2023, AJ and Punk share screen time on Star's TV drama series Heels, and the training video between the two got everyone excited. Is it for a Rumble? No, it was for a TV show. Then in 2024, she starred in a movie called Sacramento with Michael Cera and Kristen Stewart for a short in-ring scene too. I watched this movie, it was very cute. She's not like a major character, but she has like multiple scenes actually. And of course, rumors of AJ Lee's return has been going around for years. Again, when she joined WOW, everyone was wondering if she'd eventually return to the ring in WOW, and she told media, never say never, but also don't hold your breath about wrestling again.
Never say never, but don't hold your breath. I'm healed from everything I've gone through in wrestling. I could technically do it.
And 2025 Royal Rumble was probably the biggest rumor mill for her return, because CM Punk returned to WWE late 2023, so probably Rumble 24 was too quick for AJ. So 2025, that seemed like a right time. Also, it was in Indianapolis, so kind of like close enough to Chicago, I guess.
Who you would like to see show up in the women's Royal Rumble?
There's a big one that I'm not going to say because I'm going to get in trouble.
It seemed like a perfect time for a return, but she did not return then. So what is going on this week? Everything. So on Sunday in Paris, we saw Becky Lynch reunite with her husband on screen as Seki to attack CM Punk, low blowing him, costing him the championship match. Then Becky goes to physically abuse Punk on Raw, which Paloma said was kind of sexy. Not just her, not me. Here, Becky was taunting him to do something, with Punk going, "You're going to regret putting your hands on me." Then this coming SmackDown happens to be where Punk and AJ lives, Chicago. Just a perfect setting for her return for a mixed tag angle. And the behind the scenes situation makes it even more plausible. WWE's new PLE WrestlePalooza is happening later this month. It's happening in Indianapolis, again close to Chicago, and it's also ESPN's first PLE with WWE. And with so many people complaining about WWE's move from Peacock to ESPN, WWE really needs stacked card to lure fans to this new platform, so they are trying their best. And AJ, you can't go bigger than that. WWE is also going head to head with AEW's All Out on the same day, with AEW already shifting their start time earlier in the day to avoid direct clash. AJ's power, shall I say? Then there is now deleted WWE Shop social posts that appear to tease new AJ Lee merch tied to an imminent return, which many viewed as spoiler, but for me it kind of read as like a bot response. I don't know. And credible wrestling news outlets like Fightful and Wrestling Observer have basically confirmed that AJ's return is imminent. So it will be really awkward for everyone if she doesn't return, but still, wrestling journalism is wrestling journalism, and it's not like it's first time WWE like gaslit its fans, so treat everything as informed rumor until WWE or AJ herself says the words. So that was the entire timeline of AJ Lee from her leaving WWE to potentially making the most anticipated return of the women's wrestling history. So AJ, if you're lacing the chucks again, we will be ready for you. Are you excited for AJ Lee's return? Will it happen? And who do you want to see her feud against? Let us know in the comments section. And you can follow me on Instagram at DShin and Ring the Bell DS on Twitter. And I will be live streaming on Friday to see if this happens or not. I will be crying like that CM Punk guy. So join me there. We'll see you then. Bye.